to light the lamp during the invocation. I also request the gathering to please raise for the occasion.
ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ನೀ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ನೀ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ಕಾರ್ಯಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ಕಾರ್ಯಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ವಿದ್ಯಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಭಜನಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ಭಜನಾರಂಭದಿ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ಭಜನೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಭಜನೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಪೂದೆ ಮಗೆ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ನೀ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ನೀ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಫಲದಾಯಕ ನೀನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ.
Thank you, everyone. Now I request our beloved principal, Dr. Nagalakshmi Madam, Vice Principal Sharmishta Madam, and PU Principal Sarita Bai Madam to escort the chief guest onto the stage. Well, today, Maharani Lakshmi Ammani College for Women Autonomous, the Department of Library, has put in hands and efforts to celebrate and commemorate National Library Day. And on this occasion, it is my privilege to welcome today's guest, Dr. Pichappan, who has come here to give a lecture and to enlighten us more about this field. I welcome you, sir. I welcome Dr. Nagalakshmi BN, Principal MLAC, Dr. Sharmishta Datta Madam, Vice Principal, Ms. Sarita Bai Madam, Principal of PU College, Dr. Anna Danesha, BA, Administrative Officer, Ms. Aruna HK, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Jolita, Academic Coordinator, I welcome Mr. Gnanashekar, the Finance Officer, the Library Advisory Committee members, staff, and students for today's event. A hearty welcome to one and all present here. Well, National Library Day is celebrated in India on 12th of August every year to commemorate the birth anniversary of Padma Shri Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. He was a university librarian and professor of library science at Banaras Hindu University and professor of library science at the University of Delhi. He is considered to be the father of library science, documentation, and information science in India, and is widely known throughout the rest of the world for his fundamental thinking in this field. Now, I take the privilege to welcome Dr. Nagalakshmi BN, principal of our college, to give the presidential address for today's event.
Good morning to one and all present here. Esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Pit Pichappan, Chief Librarian, Ms. Soumya, and her fellow colleagues, my dear staff and students. It's an immense honor to stand before you today as we inaugurate Library Week, a time to celebrate the treasure troves of wisdom, imagination, and inspiration that libraries embody. Our gathering here resonates with the shared commitment to fostering a society that values the pursuit of knowledge and the power of information. Just as a key opens a door to the new worlds, library opens the door to a wealth of opportunities, understanding, and personal growth. In an era dominated by rapid technological advancement, it is often easy to overlook the profound significance of libraries. These repositories of knowledge, these gateways to the past and the future, remain steadfast, symbols of civilization's progress. From ancient scrolls to digital databases, libraries have evolved to encompass an astonishing array of formats, yet their essence remain unaltered, to serve as beacons of learning, innovation, and inclusivity. At MLAC, during this library week, we celebrate the unsung heroes who tirelessly curate collections, who offer guidance to eager minds, and who ensure that every person who walks through those library doors is met with equal respect and access. Our librarians are not mere custodians of books, but guardians of the human intellect, stewards of diversity, and facilitators of curiosity. They nurture the flames of discovery that burn within each of us. Moreover, libraries transcend the boundaries of socio-economic status, making learning accessible to all. They are places where dreams are nurtured and potential is unlocked, regardless of one's background or circumstance. In an increasingly interconnected world, libraries foster a sense of community that bridges divides and enriches lives. As we celebrate Library Week, let us reflect on the fact that libraries have played vital role in the stories of great thinkers, innovators, and leaders. The pages of history are replete with individuals whose lives were transformed within the hallowed halls of libraries. They stand as testament to the enduring impact of these institutions on human progress. In conclusion, let us embrace the essence of Library Week as an invitation to unlock our minds and explore the boundless realms of knowledge that libraries offer. Let us recognize that libraries are not relics of the past, but living conduits that shape our present and future. May we recommit ourselves for supporting and preserving these sanctuaries of wisdom, ensuring that the keys to understanding are accessible to all. Coming to the lecture today on Chat GPT. Chat GPT has significant potential for learning and education due to its ability to generate human-like text and engage in interactive conversations. Incorporating Chat GPT into education requires thoughtful integration to harness its strength while mitigating its limitations. It should ideally complement human teaching and support rather than replace it entirely. To create a well-rounded learning experience, ChatGPT is a type of artificial intelligence language model developed by OpenAI. So, thank you all, and may this library week inspire a new chapter of curiosity, enlightenment, and unity in our community. So, I hope all the students here will visit the library in this week and learn and get more wisdom, and just like the great leaders, you also have to develop on the ideas. And moreover, when you read books, you acquire all the knowledge that is essential for you to move forward. But instead, libraries, actually, it is a temple of learning. So when you enter the temple, you have to see that you concentrate only on studies in the library and do the reference work in the library rather than chit-chatting. So now ChatGPT or anything, whatever is there, so with that knowledge you can acquire more and more and see to that you perform well. See, actually sir is going to touch upon the understanding of ChatGPT as well as its limitations. So now the buzzword of today's technology is the ChatGPT, and some for jokingly they call it as Chai GPT, because every information you get, but the information sometimes what you get in that may be reliable or not reliable, but that is why books are friends forever for us. So let us cultivate the habit of reading books. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, madam. You rightly commented that librarian and library personnel are not just custodians of books and physical entities, rather they are custodians of human knowledge. Thank you, madam. I now welcome Dr. Sharmishta Datta, Vice Principal MLI, to speak a few words on this occasion.
Good morning, one and all here on the dais and off the dais, the students. Library is one of the most important, center of any educational institution. And a college with more than 50 years, you can understand how the library is and what is the collections and the knowledge which is being stored over there. Over a period of time, library has been, the committee has been working towards how to involve the students of ours, because of late we have observed that, all information is available in our, the palm, what we are holding. I think all of us are holding that gadget. And only thing is, we are not aware of how to utilize that gadget and also how to utilize library. To keep this in mind, our library team has started with a very, very innovative, to commemorate on this, we are working towards the library week, where we have various activities for the students and the very interesting work which is happening. And the library, when you are we want to attract more and more students towards it. I think that is the intention. So girls, please do visit the library whenever you are free, because in your timetable you have the free time. Make sure you reach out to these important assets which the college has. So with this, I would wish the library department for having organized such a beautiful National Library Day, as well as one whole week of the programs. So I wish and congratulate them. I wish all the students to take an active participation towards it. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for emphasizing the importance of reading books. As it is said that, tell me which book you read, I'll tell you who you are. So that important is book reading. Well, now I take the privilege to call upon Ms. Sarita Bai, our beloved principal of MLAC PU College, to speak a few words on this occasion.
Good morning to all. First of all, I would like to congratulate Soumya and her team who started last year with the Library Week concept. On this Library Day, one thing I would like to share with you all is my teachers. As a school kid, as well as a college student, they used to insist that we have to read one book in a week and present what we have understood. So that was very important, and that helped us to inculcate the habit of reading. And I realize the importance of it today. I also would like to recollect one of my teachers, Shushila Punitha, who taught me MA literature, and she used to tell us, and particularly me, just hold the book, you'll feel the difference. And I did feel the difference, because even now when Soumya gave me that book, when I saw the title, who has written, turn the page, automatically your fingers will move. Just try it, girls, and you will get tempted to read. And once you start reading 1 or 2 pages, you will end up reading the whole book in a week's time, and your speed will increase. Try inculcating that habit of reading. I would also request you all, let the libraries not be just for the institutions. Start making it a habit. Just like you invest in your dress and the other things, invest in a book. Even if it's 10 rupees or 15 rupees, the attachment you will have towards that book, you will not let go of the book even till you're aged. That's what I would like to say. Because for you all today, getting notes and the other materials is at your fingertips. Your gadget is there for that. But I recollect how every chapter we used to go to the library, have 4 or 5 books in front of us and make the notes. And we could recollect what we have written. I repeat, we have written. And that's why even till date, I have my notes, which I have done it in my degree and in my PG, because I know the value of it, because I have put in the hard work, I have understood, and I have framed the sentences to make that notes. And it's so valuable for me even today, I will not share it with them. So that's what I would tell you all. You will recollect and understand the value of anything and everything only when you invest in it. Please start investing your time into the books and have your own library, and I'm sure the reading habit will come by itself. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, madam, for making it very clear that investing in knowledge is something that you can reap the benefit forever. And I hope our college students would take Sarita Bai madam's words and start learning the habit of book reading. Well, now I request our administrative officer, Dr. Anna Danesha sir, to speak a few words on this occasion. It's my honor and privilege to stand here to give a small introduction to the most eminent guest of the day's function. I take privilege in welcoming today's guest and speaker, Dr. Pichappan, A brief introduction about him. He was formerly the chief librarian in Annamalai University and presently working as PhD honorary scientist, Digital Information Research Labs. He has 10 research projects funded by UGC, IGNOR, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, National Informatics Institute, Japan, King Abdul Aziz City for Science and Technology, Saudi Arabia. He has professional memberships to IEEE, Budapest Open Archives Initiative, International Society for Scientometrics and Informatics, Internet Society, One World Organization, AISC. He has editorship in Journal of Computational Methods in Sciences and Engineering, advances in real-time intelligence systems in Springer lecture notes in networks and systems. He was a keynote speaker in 12 international conferences. He was a panelist to UNESCO GKP Forum, Eurasia ICT, Iran Observatory of Sciences. He has several publications in various national and international journals like Current Science, International Journal of Web Applications, Journal of Self-Citation Measures, Scientometrics, Journal of American Society for Information Science, Journal of Emerging Technologies in Web Intelligence, etc. It's indeed a privilege that we have you here, sir. And I request the audience to give a big round of applause and welcome, sir, to give the lecture. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Professor Dr. Nagalakshmi, the principal, the vice principal of MACLAC, the principal of PU. The members of the faculty of MLAC and beloved students. It gives me a pleasure in coming over here and offering a very brief talk on a very significant topic today. I hope that most of you have been using the artificial intelligence based platform ChatGPT, with the presumption that all of you have some knowledge and exposure about this artificial intelligence information retrieval tool. I begin the talk. Your librarian Soumya Madam has invited me to give a very important talk during the National Library Week, and I am very happy to participate in the opening ceremony of the National Library Week. It gives me great pleasure in meeting all of you. I hope that the talk will able to generate some interest among you in really understanding the potential and limitations of the artificial intelligence based retrieval. Let me talk about actually the scope of the program, the scope of the talk. At the end of the talk, I prefer to spend a minimum of 15 minutes for questions, interactions. I'll try to comprehend the talk in very simple terms so that all of you can able to follow it easily without using any jargon. I have a set of some 27 slides. With the help of the slides, I can able to introduce the features of the potential AI tool, artificial intelligence tool, ChatGPT, and the limitations. I do hope that you can able to raise many questions at the end of the session. In future, people believe that the ChatGPT and other AI-based techniques will rule the academic and research world. But how people view this development, whether the people look at the development as a negative or a positive one, it's a debatable one. Almost all of you may know that the ChatGPT was introduced in 2022 November. It's like a 10 months old baby. So still its potential is not understandable to large number of information users across the countries. So people have both the positive as well as the negative views about the ChatGPT. Some people appreciate the use of ChatGPT and some people develop a criticism against the ChatGPT. Let us have a very brief view about the ChatGPT. We can do a kind of an analysis, I can say. We can do a kind of analysis so that we can able to really understand its potential. So how we can have to move the slide? So in this brief talk, we can understand the scope of the ChatGPT, where we can able to use it, where we can avoid the ChatGPT, what is the real potential benefit offered by the tool, and where we have to limit our use of the ChatGPT. Whether in future we can go for the artificial intelligence based information access, it is a major question. You know very well that in the last 20 years, people have been using mainly Google to collect information. Okay. Most of you know the history of the internet. In 1980s, the US has witnessed the development of internet. But in 1990s, internet came to India. But only after 2000, large number of people have resorted to the internet resources. Before 2000, most of the people in the developing countries like India were using only the printed resources. When the web medium was available from 2000, people have started to move into the web world. In the last 20 years, we have unimaginable growth of the internet medium. So people have been using internet for many activities. Now we are going to talk mainly about the use of web as a tool for information access. Earlier, we have been using only the printed resources like books and journals, scientific reports, magazines, conferences. Now we also access the same kind of resources, but not through the printed resources, but mostly through the online medium, because online has an impact. So what is the most important feature, most important tool to access the digital resources was Google. In the last 20 years, people have been addicted to use the Google. Almost every one of us is using Google every day for different information search activities. So for example, I want to travel from one to other place, I use Google. I want to know the weather of a particular place, I use Google. I want to know the nature of living in a particular place, I can able to use Google. I can able to retrieve a piece of information about my research through Google. I can able to understand a concept using Google. Google is a search tool which helps us to reach the resources. It is not a resource, it is a tool to reach the resources. So in the last 20 years, we have been using the Google as a tool to reach and understand the resources. But in the last 1 year, especially in the last 10 months, this artificial intelligence-based information retrieval tool has emerged. Now the AI-based tool is used as a resource, not as a tool. So people use it as a medium to get information. So if this ChatGPT succeeds in future, so people will forget the Google and other such mechanism, and everyone will go to ChatGPT or other AI-based tools. There are many other AI-based tools for information resources like Google Bard. And there are many other AI such mechanisms like Iris. But they are not very popular, and still people have been doing research and development activities to bring the tools as most impactful tools. And some people say that in the next year, the Google Bard will replace ChatGPT because they are going to introduce more features. We can wait and see. Well, in this talk, I can able to give you 4 components. Now, what is the current information access, and how ChatGPT has been used by people, and what are the limitations in using ChatGPT, and whether ChatGPT or other AI-based tools can be used as a source for the information access. So these are the 4 components that we can able to address in the talk today. You have been heard about artificial intelligence. Even though you are not doing any course on computer science, any general user can understand the artificial intelligence. And the purpose of artificial intelligence is to replace a human intelligence, or the artificial intelligence can able to work like a human intelligence. So people say the artificial intelligence is like a proxy to a human intelligence. So people have been working, but basically we know that machines cannot think like human beings. Even after 100 years, the intelligence tools like artificial intelligence can able to replace the human beings, but definitely 100% human intelligence cannot be imposed by the artificial intelligence tool. But we can understand artificial intelligence purpose is to make an alternative platform for the human intelligence. But how people will succeed it is a major question. Still, it is not properly answered. So people have been working to improve the AI tools so that the human beings can be mimicked by the artificial intelligence tools. And the AI has many applications. And they use some algorithms called deep learning and machine learning. So these algorithms are basically infused into the algorithms of artificial intelligence, and one major component in the artificial intelligence is the natural language processing. For the language and text processing, AI tools have been used. So what they do, they develop many parameters, they develop many variables, and ultimately a very complex algorithm has been prepared for artificial intelligence. You know well that Google has been working based on a very complex algorithm. When you search for a particular word, the Google search will retrieve millions of hits, or minimum 10,000, 20,000 hits for a very minute query. And these hits are ranked, this is more important, ranked 1 up to last. What happens that when you search the Google, you will limit access only to the top 3 or 4 pages. You will not go beyond it. So that is why people have been working to bring their web pages in the top 3 or 4 pages. So for which they do some kinds of manipulations. But we do not know how Google is able to retrieve such information. So as an user, you actually give a query. The query will be searched by the Google mechanism, by the Google algorithm, and ultimately within few seconds it brings the results. For which Google has prepared a very complex algorithm consisting of the techniques like deep learning, machine learning, and natural language processing, including page ranking. There are so many mechanisms, variables, parameters are injected into the complex algorithm. We really do not know how it is been working, but we know only the output. Likewise, these artificial intelligence based tools like ChatGPT or other mechanisms have been using some complex algorithms for which they use a very large number of parameters, unimaginable number of variables and parameters which is humanly not possible to use. As a simple case, I can tell you, I ask you to, as a teacher, I ask you to prepare a simple graph. Now you take x-axis and y-axis and you can able to prepare a bivariate graph. This is called bivariable, 2 variables. X is one variable, other variable is y. You can simply draw a graph manually by using x and y axis. Imagine I am giving you 1,000 variables and 1,000 sets of data, like 1,000 columns. Imagine 1,000 columns of data, 1,000 variables. I ask you to prepare a graph or a map. You cannot do it manually. So manually, humanly, it is impossible to develop a multi-variable map. So we write a program, then we use certain statistical techniques, and then we draw the graph by using a complex program. Because manual graphing is not possible for the multivariates. So 1,000 variable, imagine the difference between 2 variables and 1,000 variables you can understand. But these algorithms have been using millions of variables, millions and billions of variables. So it is unimaginable to know how they have actually injected all such variables. It's a very, very complex process. So in this point, actually, we got to appreciate the people who have developed actually the ChatGPT, and the company is called OpenAI, Open Artificial Intelligence, which is located at San Francisco. So they have been developing this program for the last 10 years, and ultimately came into the viable product in November 2022. So one is actually natural language processing. For the language text processing, people use artificial intelligence techniques that we can understand basically. So we are not going to discuss in detail how these AI programs have been prepared. It is not our task. For the information processing, for the retrieval of information for academic or for research purpose, the people have been using the AI-based techniques we can understand. Well, and one such important feature of the chat GPT is that they use a model called large language model. In the large language model, they have injected many features of the language. See, one feature of the language is grammar. Let us take syntax, semantics, grammar. And when you write, for example, a text in English or in Kannada, you have to follow the basic rules. You have to follow the grammar. You have to follow the verb, noun, conjunction, syntax, semantics. So there are certain basic rules in writing the natural language. All these rules are injected into in the chat GPT. Not just only one variable, all the grammatical and all the language features. What are the features a language has? Not only in English, in all the languages that we use today. All the languages have many variables, many rules. Because if you take, for example, in Arabic, you cannot write from left to right. You have to write from right to left. In English and other languages, we start to write from left and we go for right. So the rules of the Arabic is totally different. The rules of different languages are totally different. Each and every language has a unique feature. All these features are combined and ultimately they prepared a model that is called a large language model. This large language model is injected into the chat GPT. Imagine how much effort they put into this chat GPT by bringing the total features of the language. That is, it is called a large language model. This large language model cannot be produced by human beings. We cannot do it manually. Nobody can able to write a program manually by combining all the unique features of the languages. All the like syntax, semantics, grammar, rules, everything is actually you prepared and injected into the model that is called LLM, large language model. So this large language model is used by ChatGPT. Say, for example, you want to actually search for a piece of information in the Google or a web page. You can search for a particular word. For example, nanomaterials. When you search for nanomaterials, you have a large number of hits. You take particular web page, then you can able to take some information. But the information you get from one web page is not enough to you. It's not enough to understand the concept of nanomaterials. So what you do, you go to the next page and then get some other information and then you can take it. And that is also not enough to understand nanomaterials. Then you go to the third page. Like this, you go on extending so many pages, web pages, until you arrive at a conclusive information package. So it takes a lot of time for you because you have been extracting information from thousands and hundreds of web pages. It's called web scrapping. So scrap means a small piece. So you are taking a small piece from each web page and then finally you are bringing actually a write-up, a summary, or a summary which you can able to understand the particular concept. So the web scrapping has been used by us mainly through the tool search mechanism like Google or other search engine. So web scrapping has been used by people until 2022 November. But now we have a different way, that is a powerful model to get all the web scraps at one page, at one place. Well, basically I can tell you, there is a variation between the artificial and the natural content. For you read a book, for example, you read an article, you read a journal, a report, or for example an encyclopedia. The information is natural because it is written by only one person, by one scholar, an experienced expert in the field. When you read a book or an encyclopedia article or a report, you get some academic scholarly information. That is natural information, natural content. But when you go to the web, most of the information is synthetic. Synthetic means really you do not know who has actually written an article, who has written the web page. For example, you go to a company website, you get a lot of stuff in the company website. But who is a contributor? Who is responsible for the web page? For some web pages, there is a real responsible creator. But for many web pages, there is no responsible person. We do not know who has actually produced it. See, when you have a book, when you agree with the book, you appreciate the author. Sometimes when you disagree with the book content, you may ask the author, because the author is a responsible person. When you read a book or when you read an article, the author is a responsible person. But if you go to the web page, or when you go to Chat GPT, when you get some information in the web pages, and when you know that it is not accurate, it is false information, it is a disoriented information, incorrect information, and who is responsible person? Do you know who has produced it? No one knows. And there is no real author, there is no responsible person for the content. Any scholarly content should have some responsible people. When you read a scientific article, the author of the article takes responsibility of the content. But when you read a piece of information in the web, nobody has a responsible person. Nobody can able to respond to you. When it is inaccurate, you do not ask. Whether the content is accurate or inaccurate, you do not know it. So this is synthetic content. For synthetic content, it is not generated by one person. There is no real human being involved. It's collected from many pages. The content is not primary. But when you take information from a book or an article, the content is primary. It is originally produced by one scholar or by an expert who has been working in the field for many years. But in the web, actually, it is artificial. People take it from many sources and compile and give it to you. And there is no single person involved in the production of information, and nobody can take the responsibility. Accuracy is a question, scholarly content is a question, and it is the difference between the synthetic and the natural content. And most of the web page information becomes synthetic. I can say the information world is becoming synthetic. So what happens that if you use a Chat GPT or any other artificial intelligence tool, the information you get is 100% synthetic. It is actually combined information collected from thousands of sources, not from one source. It is also copied information. It is not original. The Chat GPT is giving the copied content, not original content, because human being is not involved. Only machine is involved. Machine cannot really generate. But what people say that Chat GPT is a generative tool. But people don't accept it. It's not a generative tool. And human, for example, your brain, your creativity, your intelligence, you work, you think, you can able to generate information, and you are the generator. But the artificial intelligence tool is not a generator, it is only compiler. It's collecting information. So people wrongly use the term ChatGPT as a generator of information. It is not generating content, it is compiling, collecting information. So this is the difference between the synthetic and the real content. You can understand the limitations. Well, how ChatGPT is actually generated, you can understand it. Well, if I ask a question to you, do you know how Google is working? How Google is getting into extracting information, how Google is ranking, this is more important. In Google retrieval, ranking is more important. Just I ask a simple question, when you search for a very specific term, you get, for example, 1.2 million hits. 1.2 million pages. Can you able to read 1.2 million pages? No. What happens in most cases, you go through the first page, second page, third, maximum 4 pages, you see some 30 or 40 web pages and then you close it. You cannot go further. But sometimes what happens that a very particular valuable piece of knowledge is embedded in the thousands of pages. You cannot access it because you do not understand how Google is working. So that's a different thing. But we can, because people believe that, people say that, or everyone feels that in future ChatGPT or other Google BAD or other mechanism will replace Google. So when the future world is going for ChatGPT, we can understand how ChatGPT is working, how it is generating information. We can understand it. See here, for any answering, if we need some data. We need, for example, you ask a question to me. I can able to answer. How I answer? I have some data knowledge in my mind. If my brain is empty, if you ask a question, I cannot answer you. See, I can keeping, your faculty is keeping some 10 important books. You ask them question. Sometimes the teacher can able to respond to you immediately. Sometimes the teacher can look at the book and then respond to you. So we need a data source. For answering any question, we need data source. The data source may be your brain. So you can able to get the information. So if you ask a question, I can get the data information from my brain and give it to you. So we need a database, a data set. What is a data set for Google, ChatGPT? Whether it is giving its own information, whether it is thinking, no. It is giving information from some other sources. What are the sources? It's a collection of a large collection of resources. What are the major resources? If you look at it, last is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is one data set used by ChatGPT. And then books 1 and 2. Books 1 and 2 is a collection of millions of books, millions of e-books, not printed books. Millions of e-books are collected. They are called the collection of books 1 and books 2. And there is a crawler that is called Common Crawl. It's an open source that collects information from hundreds and thousands of websites, and all together are actually used by ChatGPT. So to answer any question, ChatGPT has a data set. The data set is collected from these kinds of sources. Ultimately, billions and billions of web pages are used by ChatGPT. So this is one. But we do not know what are the scholarly sources among the billions of sources. But one thing is very clear. You know that all the sources used are secondary information sources. They are not the scientific reports. For example, you read the latest scientific journal or a magazine, like for example Nature. You may heard about Nature is a top valuable journal in science. Another journal is Science, Scientific American. There are many other very high level classical journals which publish only the most acceptable original knowledge. These sources are not added into ChatGPT data source. The scholarly resources are not added. Only the secondary information is added into the ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is generating answer, giving answer, collecting answer only from these sources, not from the scholarly sources. Now, if you go to your library, if you ask your Saumya madam, she can tell you which is a scholarly source and which is an average source of information. ChatGPT is not giving scholarly information source. It is collecting from the secondary, tertiary information, which is not really original, primary in nature. Then they use a term training of data set. What is a training of data set? By using AI applications, people train the data set. Train means that actually, see, when you ask a query in the ChatGPT, it is giving a 2 or 3 paragraphs of information. When you read it, definitely you will be satisfied. I know very well that. As a student, when you get a piece of information from ChatGPT, 100% you will get satisfaction because whatever you expect, it is available. And it is giving the information in very simple terms, which is very understandable to all of you. There definitely you will be very happy. But how it is giving? How it is giving a writing, you will be very surprised. How a machine is writing a paragraph like a human being. This is the most important technical advantage of the ChatGPT. So this is possible by a process called a training. So when you ask a question, within few seconds, that is, we have to accept it definitely, even though a scientist or anyone is not accepting ChatGPT, but they have to appreciate the speed in which ChatGPT is working. Within few seconds, you can able to write, you can able to get 2 or 3 paragraphs, unimaginable before 10 years or before 20 years. So the algorithm is very, very appreciated. We can appreciate it. Within few seconds, it is generating, and in most cases with the minimum language errors. You cannot find any grammatical error. You cannot able any conjunction error. You cannot able to find any disagreement between verb and noun. It's almost, I cannot say 100%, but 90%, 95% it is acceptable. Language is acceptable. It is generating, giving information, but you will be satisfied. what are the information you expect the ChatGPT is giving, but through a process called training. So what happens that when you ask a question, this question important words are actually used by ChatGPT to match the content, including synonyms, including related words, and then it bring content and rearrange it and restructure it, rewrite it with applying all grammatical features, and then it is generating answers. So this process is very, very complex. It's called training of the data set. And ultimately you will get the answer. They use a complex algorithm based on machine learning, deep learning, and NLP, natural language processing. Now it's a structuring tool, that's all, okay. And you see there, it is using 175 billion parameters. Unimaginable. So no human being can able to understand. Nobody can able to explain what are the parameters. Even the people who have developed a ChatGPT cannot able to explain manually, humanly, they can't explain. 175 billion parameters are used, and then they can able to bring cognitive ability. I think it's a very complex. I think I understand that the term cognition is very difficult for you to understand. Cognition is actually, see, I perceive a concept, I expect it, I'm getting the perfect answer. So my understanding is answerable by you is cognition. I can able to explain in simple terms. I cannot able to go in detail to explain what is cognition. So the cognitive ability is actually injected in the large language models. It takes care of all the language patterns like syntax, grammatical features, semantics, meaning part, and all are injected in the ChatGPT. In the Google, we ask a question, a query. It's called a query. In the classroom, after the end of the class, you ask a question to the faculty. You call it as a question. The faculty will answer to you. A teacher will answer to you. You go to the Google, but you don't call it as a question. You call it a query. There's a search box. You give the query. The Google will give the responses. But in ChatGPT, they use the word prompt. It's nothing but a question or the query. Then, and it is not an open source. And people say it is open source, open AP, open AI. It's not open source. Only limited edition is available as open source, and all others are available in two other options. One is called a browser extension. For example, if you have Google Chrome, you can able to add some features as an extension, then you can able to use a ChatGPT. In some cases, ChatGPT cannot give you freely, and you have to buy some other options, additional features, that is a plugin. For example, I'm registering my email in the ChatGPT. Now in my laptop or mobile, I have ChatGPT. I'm using some basic features, but when you want additional features, I have to pay money. And Google will give you the features that is called plugin. Or you can able to use a browser extension to get some features. So completely the ChatGPT features are not available in an open format. This is information which we should understand very clearly. Well, I think this is the information which I want to give you. So ChatGPT is not open source. You can use the plugin or browser extension to access all the features. So we can make a very simple comparison between Google and the ChatGPT. Well, when you search in the Google, Google will give you the list of sources where the information is available. Google is giving the list of web pages and sources where the information is available. But ChatGPT is giving the answer. It is not giving the list of sources. You do not know from which source the answer is taken by ChatGPT. No, it is like, for example, when there is a 3-paragraph answer in some 200 words, these 200 words are taken from thousands of sources and all are rearranged, translated, modified. All are modified, translated, and rearranged, and ultimately you get a 200 words answer from the ChatGPT. So what is the difference is that Google is a mechanism, it's a tool to get answer that is called a referral. Google is giving only direction. Google is not giving any information to you. Google or other search engine, for example, Yahoo or Bing, any search engines will not give you any answer. but they will direct you where the information is available. That is called a referral function. But ChatGPT is not doing the referral function, but it is an answering tool. It's like a human being. When you ask a question, it is giving the answer to you. So this is the difference between the Google and the ChatGPT. The difference between the Google search and the ChatGPT search. Language perfection of the ChatGPT response is you have to appreciate. One advantage, one feature which I can observe that the ChatGPT is giving the answer from, for example, some 25 web pages. Imagine, for a particular query, the ChatGPT is giving response by collecting information from 25 web pages. These 25 web pages have language problems, understand? Language errors, I can say. Language errors. But it is when the ChatGPT is taking answer from all the 25 answers, when it is giving to you, do you expect the same language error in the ChatGPT? No. It eliminates all the language errors. Do you know that a very large number of websites, when they give the content to you, have many language errors, grammatical errors, syntax errors, semantic errors. Even in the research article also, when you get a research article, or when you read a book, if you are a language teacher, if you have perfection in the language, you will easily identify the language errors in a textbook, in an article, in a newspaper article, in a magazine article, or even in a research article. You can able to find large language errors. This is inevitable because it is produced by human beings. Because our mother language is not English; it's a foreign language. When we write something in the foreign language, it's a natural process that we commit errors. Even when we speak, when we write, we commit errors. It's inevitable. But ChatGPT, when it draws answers from different sources, it eliminates all the errors and then it will give you the language-free content. So we can appreciate it. Then the information which is given by ChatGPT is more comprehensive. Whatever you ask, it will give the correct information to you. But in your Google web page, when you take information from 4 or 5 websites, sometimes you are not able to get the all-inclusive, all the required answers. It is not comprehensive. Google answers may not be comprehensive because something which is very important is not retrievable by the Google. But ChatGPT can able to give you the more relevant information and very comprehensive. Whatever you ask is available in the ChatGPT. And we made actually a small study about the language problem of the ChatGPT. We found that ChatGPT has some minor language errors. Okay, it's acceptable at a large extent, but if you go in detail, in depth, for example, if you use a text editor to identify the errors, it can able to identify some errors. Well, this is the last important point. See, it helps students to understand the concept where they are struggling by providing customized interactive explanation. What is customized solution? When you ask a question very specifically for your academic assignment, it gives the correct answer to you. It customizes the answer for you. It understands the question raised by you, and then it customizes according to your information needs. When you ask a very specific question, it can customize itself and then it will give the information to you. And then it provides interactive explanation. For example, when you ask some question to you and you are not much happy with the answer, then again you can ask a question to you. Like a chatbot, again you ask a question, then it regenerates the answer. If you say that I am not satisfied with the answer, can you able to give some more description? It gives some more description. So it is interactive. Unless you get satisfaction, it continues to provide information again and again. So it is interactive and it is customizable. You can able to change the query and then it gives the information to you. And it works very well in these two respects, customization and interaction. Well, now I ask a question. Now giving because I see that a particular website is very important for me. Then I give the website URL. I ask a ChatGPT, can you able to summarize the information? It does a summarization. For example, a particular website has 800 pages. Imagine a particular website has 800 pages, but I cannot able to read all the 800 pages. I ask ChatGPT, can you give the summary? It summarizes all pages into one paragraph. So I can able to get a summary in ChatGPT. I need not go through 800 pages because it is helping me to get the summary of the ChatGPT. But this option is not available in the basic version, but only in the plugin. When you buy the ChatGPT by paying money, you will get the plugin, and the plugin option is summarization. In the basic ChatGPT, you cannot able to get this option. Image description. See, when you read actually, for example, a concept in biology, or a chemical experiment, or in a textbook, or in an e-book, an image is available. Or in a biological science, biomedical science book, an e-book, an image is available. Just you copy the image. Or you can give the URL of the image where it is available into ChatGPT. You ask the ChatGPT to give the description of the image. So this is an example of the image. When I ask, it gives a description. Because this image is available in a particular website, I am giving the website where the image is available. In this page, only one image is given, and no information is available in the web page, and ChatGPT is giving the explanation of the image. Image description or image translation into natural language text. A figure is converted into a textual character by the ChatGPT feature. Another is a visualization tool. There is a map. This map is actually life expectancy of the various countries in Europe. I am giving this map. Then I ask, because I cannot able to read it, I cannot able to grasp, understand. Then I ask ChatGPT, can you able to give the description of the figure? It gives the description. About the life expectancy of the European countries, it is giving the description in a summary. And then I ask, because in the description it says that people from Switzerland has higher expectancy than other countries in Europe. Then I ask explanation, why Switzerland people have more higher life expectancy? I am asking ChatGPT, it is generating answer. What are the reasons why Swiss people have more life expectancy than other country people in Europe? It is giving the explanation for that. So when I have a query, it is giving the answer. When I ask a further explanation, it is giving the explanation, and ultimately I am satisfied with the answer given by it. Then I want to actually, the first figure, the first one. Now this feature is available only in the plugin version, not in the basic version. This feature is available in the plugin version. Okay. Now in the basic version, I ask a question. I am asking ChatGPT, because I am a faculty member, I am asking it, can you able to prepare a multiple choice question for the topic computational algorithm? Computational algorithms, can you give you a multiple choice question? I am giving the question to the ChatGPT, and it is giving actually, here is a multiple choice question related to the computational algorithms. Now question is given, and 4 choices are given, and finally the answer is also given by ChatGPT. I hope your faculty may not able to use this ChatGPT for giving them multiple answer questions. Then I say that computational algorithm is a very big area. I am not satisfied with just only one question. Can you able to give me one more question? I regenerated the prompt. Yes, it is giving another question, and it's giving the answer for that. So for generating multiple choice questions and getting the answer, it is helping you. For example, you have a competitive examination. Now the examination is over. Now you are preparing for the next examination, and you have 50 questions. You want to know the answers. No book is giving the answer to you. Then if you feed all the 50 questions into ChatGPT, it will give you the answer to all the 50 questions. Definitely. In any competitive multiple choice based examinations, what are the questions asked, you can able to get the answer from the ChatGPT easily. Definitely, in most cases. Or I can say 99% you will get the answer. So this way, we can able to exploit it, and we can able to understand it, and we can use it perfectly. Then how do you write assignments? Just now don't see the slide. You just answer my question. You go to Wikipedia and take copy some paragraph, and then you are able to copy it and paste it. And if you write just a copy from the Wikipedia, your teachers will not accept you. So you go to another e-book, e-report, or a conference paper, or another book, and then you take some more paragraphs, and then you combine it. Finally, you generate a compiled answer, and then you submit to the teacher. And the teacher will assess, and they can able to easily find out because it is a copied text. So normally most of the students do it. Why you are doing it? Why you are not reading the book and then writing the assignment? Because the information what you need is available ready-made. See, when ready-made food is available, you don't like to cook it. So you have in your house, you have ready-made food. Then you ask yourself, why we have to spend time to cook our ready-made food is available. We can consume the ready-made food. So you get the answer on the internet web because answer is available. Why you have to struggle to read a book and understand and spend time? You can save the time just by spending 5 to 10 minutes to write an assignment. This is what most students do. Well, you can use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a very notorious source of information for students. I can say notorious source of information because all of you go to Wikipedia and just copy it and then you generate the answer. You cannot understand. You cannot read it. Even no, you don't have time to read it from first to the last and just copy and then paste it and take a printout or write it and then give it. It's a simple answer. Well, when you give it in the digital format, your faculty teachers can able to check the plagiarism software. They can identify it is a copied one. When you give it in the printed version, they have some problems in understanding whether it is copied or really written by you. They may not understand clearly, easily. So the problem actually is a challenge of the academic credibility. What UGC says that you should have ethics in learning and writing, academic ethics. When you write, for example, after the master's degree, when you go for the JRF, when you write the net, they ask a course, academic integrity and ethics. So it is against academic integrity. When you write, when you copy something, it is not permissible academically. So academic credibility is the question. Student learning will be definitely affected in the plagiarism, and it is a challenging for the faculties to understand whether you copied or not. Well, now so far I have given the appreciation and the advantages of ChatGPT, how ChatGPT can able to help you. I given very good explanation about the features of ChatGPT. But ChatGPT has many limitations. Number one, zero originality. The content is not original. It's completely borrowed, copied, and rewritten. I can simply explain. I can simply say that the information which is given by ChatGPT is not original, completely copied, drawn from many sources, but rewritten. And you cannot able to identify as a copied one. So zero originality in the ChatGPT. It's a paraphrasing tool. I think people do rephrasing. Why people do rephrasing? When you, for example, when you copy some 3 or 4 paragraphs from the website, and if you give it the same, the four paragraphs to the teachers will subject the material to the plagiarism tool, and they will say that the plagiarism is 80%, similarity 90%, they will not accept it. Then what do you do? Now, if you are very clever, or if you do some exercise, you change certain words in the sentences in between that, then you bring down the similarity. It's a paraphrasing. Concept is the same, only you change the word. So by paraphrasing or by rephrasing, you bring down the similarity because we are living in the digital environment. In the digital environment, copying is a normal natural process. So people want to actually bring down the similarity. They use a technique called paraphrasing. And basically, ChatGPT is a paraphrasing tool, an intelligent paraphrasing tool, not a small mechanical tool. It's an intelligent paraphrasing tool. It affects the creativity. So creativeness of individual people will be affected. This is the most important problem identified by people. So what people say about a ChatGPT? This question is asked among large number of people, users. And people who do the survey asked the students, what is your evaluation about ChatGPT? More than 95% of the students in all over the countries, across the countries, have very positive opinion about ChatGPT. They accepted it. They said that we need it actually. Almost all the students say that we need ChatGPT. This question was asked to the computer technologists, people who do the programming. They say that it is a technological progress, inevitable progress. We need it. Technological progress is required. So the people who work in the algorithms, in computational the sciences, technologists have accepted, they said that it is inevitable, we need it. The same question was asked to the scientists and the experts and scholars. They disagree with ChatGPT. No one has accepted it. If you read any new articles in science and top journals, you can find a negative criticism leveled against ChatGPT by the scientists. So they don't accept it. Why? Because it is affecting the creativity, thinking ability of the people. It's true. See, when you are asked to write an assignment, if there is no ChatGPT, if there is no Google, what do? You go to the library. See, Google is banned. Imagine. Do you know Google is banned in China? Not because of copying. Google company is working against China, and China government, Google company do not go well. So Google is banned in China. Gmail is banned in China, but they permit the Microsoft Bing. They are using a search engine Microsoft Bing for searching. Google is banned. Imagine Google is banned for you. You cannot use the Google. Wikipedia is banned. ChatGPT is banned. Your teacher is asking to write the assignment. Your teacher is asking to write for exam. You have to prepare for examinations. Imagine there is no Google, no Wikipedia, no ChatGPT. And how do you prepare for the exams? How do you write the assignment? You have to go to the library, borrow some books, take some books, or sit there, take some reference books and read it and take some notes, and then you write it. Then read, for example, some conference paper or some research report available or some journal article in the library. Then you read and then you write it. This way what people did in the past, before 2000, all the scholars and students were doing this practice. But now due to the web digital information availability, people visit just to use the mouse and then make a Control C and then Control V. The people do this practice. Now we are living in the world of Control C and Control V. We don't read it. So this is an important problem with the digital tools, digital resources. People tend to just copy it. So what happens that they cannot understand, they cannot read it. So the reading capability is going down. The reading ability of the people is going down. So what happens that if reading is less? What happens if reading is less? It will affect the creative idea of the people. You cannot generate new idea. In future, innovation is very difficult. Now the present era is not the era of scientific research, but technological research. Now we have technological applications. People now see in the mobile, we can have thousands of applications. We can do anything with the mobile. It can be used as a device to understand our health. So people have recorded developments in technology, not in science. So basic science development is being affected because people lose the caliber of creative thinking. It affects your thinking. So this is what the scientists and scholars say about the digital, not only ChatGPT, but any other digital format. Digital tools will make the students lazy in understanding. They fail to understand, they fail to create and fail to think about it. So this is one of the major limitations of the ChatGPT or any other artificial intelligence based retrieval tools. And that's why I told you it affects the reading, writing capacity of the students. Then transparency, it is a lack of transparency. We really do not know where it is copied. You are able to copy something. For example, you write an assignment. Just to be copying from other sources, your teachers do not understand where you are copied, but they know that it is being copied, but they did not know from which source you copied. Then simply they ask you to where from which source you draw the information. So academic credibility is affected in the use of ChatGPT. Transparency is affected. So we need, for academic improvement, research improvement is possible only by the critical analytical thinking. We cannot think, we cannot analyze. So this is an important issue with the ChatGPT. See, comprehension and understanding is possible only by questions, by interactions among the people, perception and evaluation, discussions and testing. All these processes are affected by the use of ChatGPT. No discussion, no understanding, no question answering, no group discussion, all are affected by the ChatGPT. Then, so people, now just I want to say very important thing is that ChatGPT is it's not an educational or learning tool. It's a tool to understand. So my conception is that it's a tool to understand and know the concept. ChatGPT is a tool to understand and know the concept. It is not a tool for learning. Now, I had given a prompt, a question to ChatGPT. Now, you can find it is very interesting. So, please listen to me. It's very interesting answer given by ChatGPT. I asked a question to ChatGPT. Write a paragraph about how the college students could use ChatGPT to cheat on essay writing assignments. I asked this question to ChatGPT. What is its answer? It says that college students use a ChatGPT for specific prompts and questions and then copying and pasting the generated responses into their own papers. This should allow them to easily produce essays without putting effort and research required to write original content. However, this practice is highly unethical. What ChatGPT says that, please note this, underline this sentence, use of ChatGPT, this practice is unethical. ChatGPT says that don't use me. It is unethical for writing assignment. I am not telling, ChatGPT is telling it's unethical. And you have serious consequences if caught. If you are caught by the teachers, you will have the serious consequences. And including failing of the grades. Your grades will be, you will fail in the grades, your mark will be lower, and you have academic penalties. And it is important for students to understand the importance of academic integrity and avoid using ChatGPT or any other technology to cheat on assignments. This answer is given not by your teachers or not by me, but by ChatGPT. And even I can ask you, you take this question, you can able to feed the ChatGPT today, you can able to get the same kind of answer. So what ChatGPT says that don't use me for writing assignment. It's unethical. Then this is the answer given by itself, by ChatGPT. Then I ask a question. Write a paragraph suggesting the ways to avoid ChatGPT for assignment writing. Okay, ChatGPT says that don't use me. Then I ask the next question, so how to write an assignment? How students can be evaluated without using of ChatGPT? It is giving a very good proper response. See, it asks the teachers to minimize the potential of cheating the ChatGPT by adding some other assessment tools. For example, discussions, interactions, group projects, presentations, then hands-on activities. It also teaches, do not give just assignment, help the people, help the students to have interactions, group discussions, projects, demonstrations, and presentation in the form of seminars. That is why you have been asked by the teachers to give a presentation in the seminar so that you can present it, others will ask. Even when you present a seminar, the teacher will ask you a question. If you use a ChatGPT, you cannot able to answer it. Unless you read, you cannot able to answer it. So this is the answer given by ChatGPT. Don't use me, but use these kinds of activities to write something originally. Well, in the future of artificial intelligence techniques, what people expect that. Now, so far, we had a discussion about the use of artificial intelligence mainly for the question answering, because we evaluated the ChatGPT as a question answering tool. So we ask the question, the ChatGPT is giving the answer to you. It's not giving the list of sources, but gives the answer. But in the future of ChatGPT, potential is very, very broad. So people expect that in the future, the artificial intelligence will rule the whole world. Not only because now we saw the ChatGPT as a question answering tool, but the artificial intelligence has many features and it will have many breakthrough in future. So what are the potential we expect from the artificial intelligence infusion in the society is that artificial intelligence tool can able to create a drawing. You need not do the drawing. It can able to create an image. It can create an animation. People don't work in multimedia. They can able to develop. You can use a artificial intelligence for sculpture, poetry, text design, web pages building. For all creations, we can use the artificial intelligence to AI tool. Then we can create a music also, a new kind of a music. We need not go to the music composition. You don't compose a music. The AI tool will compose a music. Instruments, voice, sound effects, sound analysis. It does everything in future. So game content, architecture, furniture designs, functional criteria, AI tools will do it in future. Then AI can able to perform the image analysis, music analysis, sound analysis, and sculpture analysis. This is potential. The AI tools can promote the creativity of the human being. This is questionable. People ask how AI tools can able to induce the creativity, so we have to wait and see. Then computational models will be created by AI and I. Then cultural, economic, social, political discourse will be handled by AI tools in future. Then computational models, novelty, surprise, then representation techniques like images, videos, music, all will be handled by AI. Then state of the art area and integrating the co-creation. So people now use ChatGPT as a co-author. When, for example, I wrote a paper, I can tell you a very important advantage. See, you write an article, imagine, for a magazine or for a newspaper, with other sources, with your brain, you write an article. Now, before sending the article, you feed the article into a ChatGPT. You ask us to refine, to improve, to add missing points. It will do it. You prepare, for example, a 4-page article. You feed the article into the ChatGPT. You ask to improve it, find the gap, add it, and it does all the activities. Wherever the points are missing, it is adding the points. It will add the points. Then rewrite it, represent it in a very clear way, and it minimizes errors. It removes all the language errors, and finally it will generate a refined article and it will give it you. Now you basically prepare the article because you feel that I don't go to ChatGPT, but I wrote myself. But you are not confident that your article is good, it may be acceptable. Then what do you do that? You give the article to the ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will do all the other tasks. Missing of information is identified, then it adds it. And then language errors will be corrected. And finally, rewriting, representation, and it will give you the article. Now, who is the co-author of the article? ChatGPT is the co-author of the article. Basic article is written by you, but it is improved, presented by the ChatGPT in a very acceptable form. And when you send the article, if you send the article to a magazine or newspaper, the newspaper may accept it. Or a magazine editor may accept it because it is in a very complete form. And now the co-author is a ChatGPT. Now, what is the role of the ChatGPT? Co-creator. Basic creation is by you, but refining is done, completion is done by ChatGPT. Now it is functioning as a co-creator. So in future, people expect that the ChatGPT or any other AI tool, not only ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is nothing but a language tool. It's based on language model. It can be used for example, when I want to create a design. I want to create a blueprint. Now I want to create a music. I want to change the music. ChatGPT will not help you. We can go for other AI tool. So the AI tools in future will work as a co-author, co-creator of knowledge, and co-producer, and co-technician, co-programmer. And you can able to write the coding also. ChatGPT additional feature plugin, if you have plugin feature, you can able to write a computer program. It can able to ask, for example, this is my function purpose. You give the purpose, and if, for example, you ask ChatGPT to please write a code in Python language. And this is a purpose, please write a program in R language. The ChatGPT will does. So, ChatGPT will do it. So, ChatGPT will function like actually a code creator. So, all the computer programs in future are likely to be created by the AI tools. So, it will be the co-creator, co-producer, co-technician, co-author, and for the co-creation of knowledge, technology, and services, the AI tools will do it because people expect that it will definitely do it. I told you there are two possible extensions. The basic ChatGPT will give you only limited functions, but you can able to add some more functions by you going to the Google browser as extension. These are some of the extensions given by the ChatGPT only for this browser extension. Anybody can do it. In the Google Chrome, we can add some features into the Google ChatGPT. These are a browser extension. Then there are some are a plugin, and you have to pay money for it. Well, now before that, before I conclude, I will ask some similar questions to you. It's not they are not related directly to the ChatGPT, but something related to the ChatGPT. It's not completely related to ChatGPT, but something related to the web or digital information access. Well, see, when you search for in the Google, you will get thousands of hits, sometimes millions of hits. Imagine you have 90,000 hits for a query. The problem is that all the 90,000 hits are not relevant to you, and all the 90,000 are not valuable to you. So what your intention is that when you search for any information, you want to emphasize two features. First one is that in the information you get should be relevant to you. Number two, information should be qualitative. So you are interested in accessing the highly qualitative information content and more relevant content. But what happens that in the digital world, the problem is that you will get more irrelevant hits, irrelevant information, which are not valuable to you, then how to control the content. So this is one important question before you. Do you know the mechanism? You just ask yourself. There are many mechanisms available to limit the answers. When the Google or any search engine will give you 90,000 hits, by using certain mechanisms, you can bring the 9,000 to 3,000 or 4,000. For example, string search, file format search. So there are many other mechanisms available in limiting the control of the information. So do you know it? Just ask you this question to yourself. Do you know that AI tools like ChatGPT can help you to prepare, to write and prepare PowerPoint tools or organize your writing? Say for example, you have some hints. You listen to a talk. You prepare some hints yourself. You feed all the hints in the, for example, you write the hints in the notepad. This is only hint. It's not completed information or not the complete sentence. You just copy it and give it to ChatGPT. Can you able to prepare an organized writing of the hints based on the hints? So the hints will be used as a feed. Then it will give a very clear, comprehensive writing of the content. It will help you to customize, generate a shape your writing. So writing can be well organized in the AI programs. Just you can be able to use the hints, it can able to give you a very organized, acceptable, structured writing. Then, and this one, the third question is related to the first one. Do you know how to get the relevant information, quality information? Well, before I go, I'll let ask you a question. I think all of you are using not only the Google, but the Google Scholar. I understand all of you are using Google Scholar. Do you use any other academic search engine? Apart from Google Scholar, do you use any other academic search engine? Any one of you? Only you are using Google Scholar. Pardon? PubMed is a database. PubMed is a database for medical sciences. But apart from Google Scholar, there is an excellent academic search engine called Semantic Scholar. semanticscholar.org, semanticscholar.org. You can look at it. The advantage is that the Semantic Scholar coverage is 3 times more than Google Scholar. 3 times more than Google Scholar, but many people do not know. It is also giving a summary of the articles. It is giving the number of citations, when it was published, how many times the article was cited, and not only that, all the relevant articles. So when you search for a particular concept, you will get the articles, hits, and for each and every hit, on the right side, you can able to find related articles. For example, for a particular article, you get some 1,000 hits. If you click the hit number 1, on the right side, you can able to find the related content. So in performance, in function, the Semantic Scholar scores better than Google Scholar. So there are many other academic search engines. There is one more very successful, highly structured search engine called BASE, B-A-S-E. You can search in Google, B-A-S-E. Bielefeld Academic Search Engine, BASE. It's actually a very highly structured academic engine. All the retrieved hits are definitely relevant to you. No, it will not actually add all the sources, but only qualitative. All the qualitative relevant sources are indexed by the base academic search engine. So there are many other search engines available. Do not limit your search only to Google Scholar. Go beyond Google Scholar like Semantic Scholar or base. So that is why I asked the question, do you know how to access qualitative content in the web and more relevant content in the web. So we have many other such mechanisms. That is why I asked this question to you. Well, this is the fourth point. And do you know the mechanisms to know the current development in your field of knowledge? It's a very, very broad question to you. So in your, for example, let us take you are working in microbiology or working in biotechnology. What are the current developments? Say for after your graduation, you want to go for a master's degree. You know that what are the master's programs available in various institutions. Now you know the trend is that apart from the basic sciences, basic fields, now there are many new areas are emerging. Previously people have studied computer science and information technology. Now people have artificial intelligence, BSc, MSc data science, MSc artificial intelligence, then network security, then MSc IoT. So many branches are coming, you know very well that. So this is known to everyone. But when you take, for example, the very specific developments relating to one field of knowledge, do you know what are the mechanisms available to know the current developments? It is also a very big question and very big answer is available. We cannot able to limit the discussion just to only in a very small part of the time. So these questions, of course, are related, not directly related to the ChatGPT, but somewhat related to the academic search, because I want to use this occasion to explain the importance of these questions to you. Well, now before I would like to actually conclude the presentation, I'd like to take some time for discussion. So I will leave the copy of the slide here. Those who want to take the copy can able to take the copy of the PPT slides. So we can have some question sessions, interaction sessions, so that we can able to expect more discussions.
Yes, students, anybody who want to ask questions, relevant questions to the topic, please feel free.
Do you expect any incentive for raising questions? See, when I take classes and actually what I do at the end of every semester, now without the knowledge of the students, I normally make a note of it. So right from the first class until the last class, who are the questions, who are asked the questions, I make a mark of it in my attendance. So if there is a question from one student, and after 5 days there is another question, also I will add the number of questions asked. At the end of the semester, I identify the student who has asked more number of questions. Then I award a prize. First prize, second prize, third prize, based on the frequency of questions. So such kind of incentive will help the students to attentive in the classes and ask many questions. I think I can able to give you such a type of incentive to you so that I can able to attract you to raise questions. Because I before I came here, I told your librarian madam that I want to have more interactions. Because rather than delivering the talk from one to other, interaction from other to one will help us to understand.
If you have any queries or questions regarding ChatGPT or using any kind of digital web sources, please feel free to ask questions. Sir would be there to enlighten us on that.
I think you may know that you know that actually the URL of the websites. The end may be .com, .org, .net, you know very well. So these are accepted. International protocol, international naming protocol, URL protocol actually. Now recently some other URLs are permitted. One is .ae. sorry, dot AI, not AI, dot AI. In this ChatGPT is given by OpenAI. Open, because it's not really open source. So you have to pay, only basic feature is available, but when you want to have other features from ChatGPT, you have to pay money. It's not open source. Open source only to limited extent. But they named the company as OpenAI, Open Artificial Intelligence. It's not really OpenAI. But their website name is open.ai. .ai is actually an accepted URL. Now many companies are now naming themselves with a name .ai. So people expect that in the future, the number of the URL that have .ai will grow, will develop, will increase further. We may have millions of .ai in future. So millions of companies are expected to work on AI. Not only companies, but also laboratories in the universities which work on AI have their own AI labs, artificial intelligence labs. So people expect that in the next 5 years or 10 years, we will have more than 1 million websites which have .ai as a protocol. So not only artificial intelligence AI companies, but the universities and institutions, the laboratories who work on AI will have a new URL name with .ai. So you can see .ai, the significance of .ai. Earlier, we were able to understand only the .com, .net, .org, .info, .bis, business, then global, international. Now we have many other URL which are actually accepted at the global naming internet protocol. So .ai is actually one development. So the reason is that in the next 10 years we will have more than 1 million URLs which have .ai as a name. So you can understand the importance of AI. Yes, please.
By getting access for the ChatGPT, like from the ChatGPT, can we build an website?
Yeah. And there are two things. One is actually creating content for website, number one. So whether, I don't know whether you mean a content. So we can generate a content of a website by using ChatGPT. You can give some keywords. Then you can give some aim. What is the aim of the website? And what are the keywords that can express the content of the website? Then the ChatGPT will create a website. So it will, see, one important feature is that it can able to give the organized writing. When you give the writing in an unstructured way, it will give the organized writing. Because one of the criticisms against the internet is that it is giving the unstructured information. Because anyone can create a web page. So I can able to create a web page, I can host it. But I cannot able to easily write an article. If I write an article or if I write a book, it will be evaluated. When I write an article, when I send it to a journal will evaluate the article and then they accept the article. They will not publish it immediately. But if I want to develop a website, I can able to create a website myself. I can host it. Just I can buy a space in the internet website from ISP internet service providers. I can able to publish my website without any verification. It may be inaccurate, may have language errors, may be incorrect, false information, but I can able to claim, I can able to host a website. So the problem is that website can be created by anyone can able to host it. That is why it is called as an unstructured information content. The digital information is unstructured, but if you go to library, it is well structured, well organized, accepted, then evaluated, and the content is valuable. So I cannot write an article easily, but I can be able to prepare a website. But see, when you want to develop the website content, you can able to prepare certain keywords. Then what is the purpose of your website? If you feed all such information into ChatGPT, it will give the organized writing. So one clear departure of the ChatGPT or any other AI tool is that the unstructured digital information becomes now structured with AI. So that is a benefit we have. That is a very fast development we have. Unstructured digital web information now becomes structured information by the ChatGPT because it can able to bring the organized writing. In such a case, it will be more helpful to you when you do not know how to prepare a very structured content. Any unstructured content will be converted into structured content by AI tools or by ChatGPT. Any other question? Any other question? That's all. Sorry, can.
Thank you very much, sir. You rightly enlightened us on this topic, that is ChatGPT, use of web sources and digital information. Students, I want you to be a little alert. I know you are a little restless because of that time, but there is so much of information and there is so much of content that you can take home from this talk. At the end of the day, we need to understand that information is mere gadget based, but it's knowledge which is applied information which is more important for us, right? Being students, what do you expect yourself? Knowledgeable or just informed? Knowledgeable. So technology is always a double-edged sword. So we need to use it correctly. And that's what sir was trying to explain you, that how and where and how much we need to use the technology and how best we use the technology in an ethical and a right way. Thank you very much, sir. Now, we pull the curtains to this memorable event at this day, that is National Library Day. I request our Chief Librarian, Ms. Soumya Shastri, to deliver the vote of thanks.
On behalf of management, principal, staff and students of MLAC, I thank today's speaker, Dr. Pit Pachappan, for coming all the way from Chennai and spending his valuable time in MLAC for giving a lecture on potential of ChatGPT for learning and education and understanding its limitations. I thank our beloved principal, PU principal, faculties, heads of departments of both PU and degree, and all advisory members for supporting me in organizing and made it successful. I thank our students who are voluntarily involved in organizing and spending their time in library. And last but not the least, I thank all our library staff for getting involved and supporting me to organize. Thank you very much.
Before we formally conclude the program, today is National Library Day, and our college library is the treasure of knowledge, and probably it is our ardent duty to stand and honor all those library staff who have been working hard to make our treasure of knowledge guarded. I request all the staff members of the library department to come over the stage. Ms. Soumya Shastri, Chief Librarian, Ms. Gangama, Librarian of PG, Ms. Indra, Ms. Bhagyashri, Ms. Nitya, Mr. Vasudeva, Mr. Rakesh. Please give them a very good round of standing ovation and applause. Thank you, everyone. Please be standing, and we conclude this event with the national anthem. जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभाशिष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Thank you one and all.